Welcome back to Upside. I'm Tori Taylor. California's roller coaster ride over gay marriage began right here in San Francisco in time for Valentine's Day of 2004. Take a look at this video from that day. That's when San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom ordered the city clerk to change the wording on the marriage application to be gender neutral. And with that simple change, the city began issuing marriage licenses to same-sex couples. The marriages continued for about a month until the state Supreme Court ordered the city to stop. That month, the first court case was filed, arguing it was unconstitutional to prevent same-sex couples from marrying. Over the course of the next year, several cases were filed in various courts, both for and against gay marriage. We put together a timeline of the battle over same-sex marriage. So in February of 2004, Mayor Newsom authorizes the marriage licenses. Then in March, the California Supreme Court orders a halt on the marriages. Roughly 1 year later, in 2005, a San Francisco Superior Court judge declares the state's ban is unconstitutional. A year and 7 months later, the appeals court issues its ruling that marriage laws excluding gay and lesbian couples are constitutional. Another year and a half later, the state Supreme Court overturns the ban legalizing same-sex marriage on May 15, 2008. But then Proposition 8 passes in November with 52% of the vote after an intense campaign and huge ad buys, largely funded by the Mormon Church in Utah. Lawsuits are filed again, and in an unusual move, the named defendants in a case filed in May of 2009, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger and California Attorney General Jerry Brown both refused to support Proposition 8 in court.
I took the position that you couldn't discriminate against same-sex couples once the California Supreme Court said marriage was a fundamental right. Then it has to include any adult that wants to form this relationship.
So Protect Marriage, the group that sponsored Prop 8, stepped in as defendants. And now here we are at Judge Walker's verdict. An interesting twist, Walker was appointed to the court by Ronald Reagan, but opposition from gay rights activists held up his nomination for 2 years. David Perry is the host of 10% here on Comcast Hometown Network. He and his husband, Alfredo Casuso, have joined us here in the studio to help us understand the more personal side of this story. Thank you guys both so much for being here with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
So I wanted to start by asking what you thought of this ruling yesterday. How did that make you feel?
We're, of course, very happy. I'm aware that it's an important step. It's probably not the last step, but we felt it was a very wise decision and a very important step for people that want to form a committed relationship.
And of course, for us, I mean, we are legally married in every sense because we got married in that window. Friends always joke and they say, how long have you been married? And we say, well, we say 12 years. Mm-hmm. The state of California says 2 years and 4 days.
So tell me about that. When did you get married?
Well, we did it back in 1998, but that was when we felt that we wanted to have the commitment, but it didn't have any legal validity. We just did it for emotional, sentimental reasons.
That's right, and we had our attorney said, you know, like so many same-sex couples, you want to make sure that you inherit, that you don't have any problems should you have medical issues and whatnot. So we pieced together some of the rights that just by being married you get automatically. And when Mayor Newsom had his pronouncement, our attorney said, if it's important to you emotionally to do this, do it, but legally it's going to be overturned, and he was right. But when it became literally the law of the land in 2008, we said, we're getting married.
We have to do it. We wanted to do it for ourselves, but we also felt it was important for the community that the most couples that would do it, it would become a statement.
Absolutely.
So you're among that group of 18,000 couples that got married between when the state Supreme Court said it was unconstitutional to ban it and when Proposition 8 went into effect.
That's exactly right.
And so those marriages are all still valid.
Absolutely. I mean, our wedding rings are as valid as any other couples in any state of the United States.
But it's not allowed to continue.
No.
So how does that make you feel?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm from the South, so I always say that phrase, you know, separate but equal. Equality is equality. It's not separate, and if it is separate, it's not equal. So we're happy that we're married, but
we would like more people to have the same right.
Exactly.
And also, not that I would see this in the future, but if we were to get divorced, then we would lose the right to get married again.
That's
which
exactly
for other
right.
people is a possibility.
So And as you had friends going through this, I mean, is this something that you're just sort of paying attention to and you think of in the back of your mind? I got married and I don't think of it. It's not, I mean...
I think we think of it every day. I think yesterday for both of us was quite emotional, much more than we expected.
Yeah, and we think about it quite often. I think it's also part of the community. We're aware that a lot of people don't have that privilege that we were granted for that short period. So we're aware of a lot of people that are going through, I want to get married, I can't. So yeah, we think about it often.
Yeah, I mean, and yesterday what I thought was fascinating was here's a federal judge, as you say, you know, Ronald Reagan tried to make him a federal judge, and then he didn't become a judge until George Bush made him a judge. This is a Republican appointee. Openly gay judge, but the first time that a federal judge has said this isn't just something that's against the California state constitution. The reason we felt it was important, and me as kind of a political junkie, was for the first time someone said the U.S. Constitution says it is unconstitutional to discriminate against same-sex couples.
So this is a hard question to ask, but some people say that allowing gay marriage opens up a slippery slope. And we have a soundbite we want to play for you and then give you an opportunity to respond. This is not a very nice soundbite.
If you say marriage is not only for a man and a woman, it's going to be anything you call it. Today, same-sex marriage. Well, why should you be so prudish then to prohibit three people from getting married? What do you do with the bisexual who loves a man and a woman, and they say they're committed? It's the same illogic. And next will be the age of consent, and next will be siblings. You mark my words. If marriage can mean anything, then marriage ultimately will mean nothing.
Do you want to take that?
No, just start.
You know, I'm from the South. And I grew up in Richmond, Virginia, when it was still a time when there was the right side and the wrong side of Broad Street. African Americans on one side, whites on the other. And only until the late 1960s, or not until the late 1960s, was interracial marriage permitted. So, you know, I hear arguments like that.
Many arguments like that were used even then for that.
The same thing. The same thing. So I guess I consider the source. You know, here we are as two people who have worked hard to have the right for a system which has been a fight for us, and we got married out of love. So I have no response to that.
You guys, thank you so much for taking the time to join me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, our pleasure. Anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have been speaking with David Perry and Alfredo Casuso. It's time for a quick break, so stay with us. There's more upside ahead, including generous billionaires.